I think it's important to acknowledge the unsung heroes who graduated from St. Louis University Law School, who lived and embodied the Jesuit principles that were instilled in us when we were here as students.
The honor is both, it's a combination of sort of lifetime achievement, but within the mission and values of the law school. It's not simply great achievements. Every one of the inductees to the Hall of Fame has had a major effect on the practice of law, but in addition, a commitment to serving others.
John Amman lives the Jesuit mission. This man has sacrificed. He's an extraordinary lawyer. He's a terrific teacher. But above all, he's a magnificent human being.
John, in my opinion, combines really two approaches. And one is a client-centered approach, meaning that he wants the client to be involved, to feel empowered. But John also sees himself as a witness, to be in the room, to be supportive of, to be humane, to be decent. For John, his faith is first, and his faith guides him in the work that he does. And his family comes after that. Liz, Katie, Laura, they are what keeps him going. And after that comes students, clients, and he approaches all of those areas of his life with patience, with understanding. He makes time for all of those things.
You could hardly imagine anyone who devoted himself more to the service of others through public service than Dana. He was the U.S. Attorney in 2 different jurisdictions. He's the General Counsel of the FBI. Briefly, he was the acting Attorney General of the United States. He exemplifies humility. It's astonishing that anyone would be as modest as Dana is. You can hardly get Dana to talk about himself. And if you get him started, he'll change the subject and talk about you.
Judge Joan Berger embodies many of the principles of the Jesuit tradition. She's always marched a beeline to fix it and reform it, a person of moral clarity and determination.
I had 3 darling children at home. At the same time, realized I needed something more in my life. I called the law school, and Pete Salsic picked up the phone. And I said, "How is law as a profession for a mother?" And he did not hang up on me. St. Louis U was a leader in encouraging women and minorities to come to law school. And I felt completely at home.
Good evening. My name is Elliot Corey, Captain, United States Army. I'm sending this video from Kandahar Airfield, Afghanistan, and I can without a doubt say that I would not be here today without my grandfather, Lance Callas. My grandpa lived the Jesuit tradition throughout his life. As a young man, he worked grueling hours in Granite City's steel mill while putting himself through SLU Law School. A friend to the blue-collar worker through and through, he could connect with his clients because he lived that life himself. His outstanding legal work on behalf of railroaders in the area made him into a sort of folk hero in Southern Illinois. His calm demeanor, underscored by a deep intellect and excellent foresight, made Lance Callas a giant among men.
Don's very unassuming, so he was surprised, but thrilled. This means a lot to him, although he might not express it. But he did tell me that when the ceremony is completed, he will start signing his pleadings, Donagon Jr H. His greatest attribute is his consistency and exceptional legal advice to his clients, consistency in his dedication to charitable endeavors, consistency in his family with his wife of over 50 years and his children, and most importantly, consistency in his Catholic faith. Many don't know that Don is a daily communicant, and in this day and age, that's not easy.
Mal Harkins is honestly the first person who taught me how to become a lawyer. I still hear his voice in my head 3 years after taking his class, hearing him ask me the question, So what did you learn from that? Or how did that make you feel?
Mal really is a true educator at heart. I just so admire his energy, his curiosity, and his commitment to everyone who he touches as he has been in the practice of law.
He's so kind and sincere, and he will try to figure out how he can personally help you. I learned a ton about administrative law, but I learned so much more about how to deal with people respectfully and even to have confidence in myself as a lawyer.
Genet Loman, I remember from the time when she was our student, she's extremely brilliant. She's had a brilliant career. Well, I know many of her friends, and I am happy to include myself among them. She helps them in their lives. I mean, she helps people get jobs. If some friend of hers needs a date, she'll try to find them a date. I mean, she's really a mensch in a really good sort of way, as well as being a mentor to young lawyers. And I think helping people fulfill whatever they want out of life, and that really is part of her mission. And I think that's really consistent with the Jesuit mission. Judge Leslie Miller graduated from St. Louis University and went to Arizona. She made a career there, which is truly outstanding. She was in practice for about the last 30-some years. She's been on the circuit court in Tucson. She was honored some years ago as the Woman of the Year by the Chamber of Commerce of Tucson. She started drug court. She's done all of this magnificent service in service organizations, serving her community. That's how you build a life, somewhat on the foundation that you got in this law school.
Here is a man of incredible courage to be able to say, this is me and this is the person I love. And when he was sworn in at the Missouri Court of Appeals, his partner, Dr. Jim Reid, held the Bible in the open courtroom. He has opened the door for so many other lawyers in the community, and I believe that his courage is one of the principles that the Jesuit tradition teaches.
He was the first openly gay member of our appellate judiciary. He's a brilliant writer. I miss him as a judge because I enjoyed reading his opinions, and some of them are works of art.
I've got a saying, is it a builder-upper or is it a tear-downer? You're only as good as your works. In everything I do, I try to leave a positive effect. The people that have impacted me in this legal community are all people who wanted to help. It is amazing the people who want to help you, and whether that was at any of the law firms I worked at, whether that was in the U.S. Attorney's Office, or whether that's been on the court. The legal community is a helping community, and I'm grateful to all of those folks, and I don't want to call anybody's name because for sure I'd leave somebody out.
What makes a good lawyer is a total understanding that although people will be impressed with your credentials, your analytical abilities, you are in the end just a servant. You are a servant of other people's interests in the legal system. You set aside yourself in order to serve them. It's easy to lose sight of when you're in practice. It's easy to feel when you're here at the law school, and I suppose that's one of those great connections with all the members of the Fleur de Lis. They sort of humble themselves for the sake of their client and bring all of those skills, all of that knowledge, all of that experience to benefit those.